Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Hello, Mark. Are you there?
I can hear you, Dave. If you can hear me, fantastic.
That's good. Just checking on who's actually here. So we've got
we could
19 on. So
well, we could get started, Dave. I just started.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us on another FSM webinar. I'm delighted to introduce Mark Estcourt from Veesus, Veesus.com. A big fan of their software, as you probably know, and quite a few of you will have already met Mark and know his stuff. For those of you who don't know Mark, he has a solid background in laser scanning. Most of his experience was gained from 21 years working in the defence industry, and it was there that Mark was first introduced to the use of LiDAR and laser scanning. He had the responsibility at the time for leading a 30-strong team for developing one of the first mobile mapping systems for the purpose of covert urban data capture. As you're probably aware, Mark is currently the managing director of a small UK technology company called Veesus Limited. And it is here that he uses the 16 years of LiDAR experience to both advise organizations and individuals on the most suitable solution for their needs, and provide software solutions that allow the captured data to be used and exploited. And as we know, there's quite a few Veesus fans on the FSM. So over the last 5 years of working for Veesus, Mark has had direct contact with a significant number of police forces across the UK and Europe, and the majority of which were dealing with road traffic investigation and murder scenes. So at that point, I will hand you over to Mark Estcourt, who can take us through the subject matter today. Mark, over to you.
Thank you, Dave. Can I just check that you can see my screen, Dave? Because I can't hear anybody else, just to check.
That's perfect. I've got you.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. That's great. Well, thanks for the intro. Makes me sound probably better than what I am. Like Dave said, my name's Mark Estcourt. I know there's some people on the call today who I haven't met and I don't know, so it's pretty worth giving you a little bit of history about the company as I go through this presentation. Veesus is the company, and it's nearly 6 years old. It's 6 years old this year, so it seems like yesterday it started, but it's moving along nicely. And like Dave said, my background is defence. So if I say things which I'm trying to make myself sound like I know police work, I don't. So forgive any slip ups that I may have. All I know is what I see my user base give me feedback on when I go through things. And we're constantly evolving the software, so I'll take you through what they are. I'm not a big fan of presentations on PowerPoint, by the way. I tend to jump into the actual software itself or videos and that kind of thing. So this isn't a long presentation. I've got the software running in the background, so I will actually step into that every now and then and show you what I'm getting at when I'm actually showing or talking about these things. So that's the intro. I'll give you a quick overview of the products for those who don't know what they are, and there's a couple of sort of semi-new ones on there, so people who have got the software already or are aware of it may not know about the other things that I'm going to show. And then I'm going to talk about how to present your data. Now, the scanning and capturing data is one thing. The real power of that data is how you get it across to people. And how you're going to make them understand what they're looking at and how you want them to understand it. So I'm going to take you through a few of the tools that we have in the software to allow you to get your point of view across to people. Then I'm going to talk about sharing data. It's something that is mentioned to me every time I show the software. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways of sharing data. And I'm going to talk about streaming. Streaming PointCloud data is by no means easy, but we have a solution in place at the moment that's been deployed to a few companies in the UK. That's pretty worth showing you live, so I'll show you that actually working. And I've got a customer video on there. It's nothing to do with forensics. It's just I saw it the other day on YouTube, and they gave me their permission to show it, and I just think it's a really good example of how you can get some PointCloud data and 3D data visualized to get it across to people what they're looking at. So it's pretty just worth looking at that. Then we'll take questions. On questions, I do have a little window on my right-hand side here. So if you do have any questions, type them into the little GoToMeeting toolbox. And if they're relevant to what I'm talking about at the time, I'll answer them. If not, we'll come back to them at the end of the presentation. Okay. So our products. The first product that we generated was this thing called Data Studio. Data Studio was designed to view PointCloud data only. That's where we're looking. But not only just PointCloud data, but as much PointCloud data as you could capture on a normal computer. Nothing state of the art, not the high-end computers, just a normal computer. And we actually wanted to be able to view unlimited quantities of points. So that was the brief for the application here. And I've got a video some of you may have seen before that I'm going to click on here. I think it's on YouTube. So it's going to switch to YouTube. And just going to show this while I'm talking about the application. So let's just make it full screen. Ignore the words, but what this is showing is what we set out to achieve. We set out to achieve a powerful engine for point cloud visualization. And what you're looking at right now is somebody using the keyboard and the mouse to walk around this point cloud data, which is probably in the region of 400 million points. So it's not massive by any means, but you can see it you can just move around inside it. It's a bit blurry in places, but that's YouTube, not the software. And it can do 500 frames per second in full HD, which it cannot be understated. This is 4K, and if you just look at the quality of the scan data in 4K, and without loss of information as you're moving, it allows you to do with the point cloud data that you wanted to do when you actually scanned it. So you can move around inside this. You know, you're not losing 70% of the data as you're moving. You can just do this. So this is live. This wasn't glossed up afterwards. That was real. Somebody was moving around inside that as they were recording their screen. But once we'd achieved the point cloud engine side of things, we decided to add a whole bunch of different exploitation tools. This is just one of them. This is a lighting filter on the point cloud data to allow you to bring out information that you couldn't necessarily see with just the raw point cloud data. So it's just one of those tools. There's many tools, many exploitation tools in the actual software. It would take me 3 hours to show you them all, but that was just one. Some of the others will actually come out during the walkthrough of the software that I will go through in a second. Back to PowerPoint. Yep, that worked. Okay, sorry about chopping to and fro there, but I've got a couple of those. That you understand, I'm sure. So Data Studio was the first one. Then we took the engine out of here, the point cloud engine, and we made this plugin, this point cloud plugin. We weren't sure what we were going to do with it, but then we saw an application called Rhinoceros, which, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a CAD, computer-aided design package, similar to what AutoCAD is, but it's got a different price point. It's great at doing what it does, but it cannot view many more than 100,000 points, which any scanner that you may have will capture more in a single second than this can actually view. So we decided to plug it into that and give people the ability to view point cloud data in a CAD environment and pretty much reverse engineer data that they've captured. So this could be a floor plan, this could be the layout of a road, or this could be an architect actually reverse engineering an entire building as it is built. So I'll give you a quick example of that, of how it's used. I'm not suggesting you're going to be using it in this way. It's an old video, it's the old logo there. But I'll just try and explain what this is doing. So we've got a point cloud loaded. We're going to make a new slice. And now what the slice does, ignore the moving around there, it's quite disorientating. You will add a slice to this point cloud data in the bottom right-hand corner here. And as you can see, there's a green line. It's dissecting the actual data as it's moving up and down the actual point cloud itself. So if you look to the left-hand top window, that's a top-down view of that slice through the point cloud data. And you can change the slice width to whatever you like, and you can effectively slice and dice that point cloud. And what tends to happen is you can use the tools that are inside Rhino to actually reverse engineer that that piece of point cloud data into a real CAD object model. Okay, that's just one tool inside the plugin. That's I won't go into all of them. That's just to show you a very common use of the actual of the plugin. Okay, so that's quite both these products. Like Data Studio has been around for 5.5, almost 6 years, and the Rhino plugins about 4.5 years, and there are over 1,500 seats in the open market in the world, so it's not an immature product. We've also taken the engine and placed it in this thing called Point Server. Point Server allows you to stream your point cloud data to this and this, so Data Studio and the Rhino plugin, from a PC that you've configured in your own office. Okay, I'll take you for an example of that later. We've also got PointFuse, currently only PointFuse version 2, but we're going to be integrating PointFuse version 3 in the near future. And what this is, it's an aftermarket piece of software. It's not ours, it's third-party software, which plugs into each of these two products here and allows you to select some point cloud data on the fly and mesh it, so vectorize the point cloud data into a structured surface. So it's got many uses, and it's getting better as time goes on, which is fantastic. So that's another product that we resell. This is something fairly new. It was quite embryonic the last time I showed this at the FSM. We've got some companies actually using this now. This is the ability to share your point cloud data from the cloud. Now that normally would breathe a shiver down people's spine in the policing industry, in particular because of security, etc., etc. However, this isn't a cloud that somebody else is looking after. This is the cloud that you could be looking after in your office. So this is just an instance of a server, effectively, that you can share all your point cloud data to people who want to see it in a web browser. So it's I've got a live demo of that as well I can show you. And the last thing, this is still beta at the moment, but we've taken that engine I've been talking about that's in all these products, and we've created an SDK of just the engine and some of the tools that are inside it. So people with Point Cloud viewers can take that engine and plug that into their software, and they suddenly will have the same power as we have for viewing the Point Cloud data, so 500 frames per second, which is quite exciting. Got quite a few people looking at that at the moment from beta point of view. So there are products. We do other things as well. So we do cleaning, making animations, optimizing point cloud data. We do scanning still, but this is our main focus from a company point of view. Okay, right. So make sure there's no questions on that first. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to those questions. They're quite detailed. Right, presenting data. The deliverable part of point cloud data, as I said before, is the most important part to me. Getting across what you're trying to show to somebody from a 3D world is very difficult. I mean, some people still don't understand point cloud data, which is understandable, which I completely understand. But getting it across in a really clear way is the benefit of the actual capture in the first place. If you can't do that, there's no point doing it. So it takes very... Yep.
Can I just come in, Matt? There's a couple of questions which are probably relevant right about now, which is in relation to Data Studio. Yep. Steve Jameson asks, he noticed a quick message as you open the Data Studio that it is run by Unity. So does this mean the engine converts all point cloud formats into a Unity-based format?
No, the video you saw, that was the SDK being used in Unity 3D. So we've had a couple of customers who use sort of domes for presenting data, and they use Unity for that. So they've plugged the SDK that I mentioned on the previous slide into Unity 3D.
Okay. So, and the other one was from Derek Fredrickson. I don't know if you see the questions. Do you offer solutions that can be integrated with the Unity 3D? Which I think you probably just answered that.
Yes. Was that all there was?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that probably answers both questions in one. So
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to
That's
interrupt.
good. That's all right. It's saved going back over it. It's in context, then, isn't it? Thanks, Dave. Okay, right. Presenting your data. Your deliverable could be to anybody. It could be to court. It could be to your colleague. It could be to your boss, or it could be to defence, insurance companies, or whoever gets involved in all these things. And your deliverable could be a single screenshot, just to say, hey, look, this is what I'm talking about. It could be an orthographic image taken from the software, or a simple single-page PDF that you can simply email off to somebody, or it could be a PDF that a multiple-page PDF that you've created from viewpoints from within the software. So if you don't know what viewpoints are, I'll show you that in a second. So bear with me on the next three points there. You can also make a PowerPoint slide for a viewpoint as well, so you can deliver your products in a presentation, very quickly. Or you could do a live presentation if you're brave enough, using the viewpoints, and I'll show you that. I tend to do that all the time. If I've got a large group of people, I do tend to use this live presentation mode, but then I tend to like risk in that way. I wouldn't do it in court though. Anyway, so simple fly through. You can make a simple fly through, which could be the way to get the information across to somebody, or an animated scene. So not you flying around, or it could be you flying around, but also other things inside the scene moving as well, to allow people to understand what they're looking at. And we've also got a 360-degree fly through. I'll show you. You can make a 360 degree panoramic walkthrough, which you're fixed to a trajectory, and you can have a look around and see what's what through a scene. And of course, another way of this is the top end of presenting this information across to people is VR and augmented reality as well. Be interesting to see where that goes in the future. But right now, most of these things are used in one way or the other by a number of the police forces that I know use the software. Okay, so I'm just going to come out of this presentation now and go to the software. Okay, let's just reset that. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the software, I'm not sure, I didn't see who was actually on the call, so I can probably look now and tell you, figure out who knows it and who doesn't. Yeah, there's definitely a few on there that don't know it, so I might as well just talk a little bit about what you're looking at. Okay, standard sort of front end, you've got a local viewer here, and you've also got a GIS view. So turn the globe on. If your data is georeferenced, you can put it where it was captured. You can turn maps on, you can turn satellite imagery on, you can turn all sorts of things on with this GIS. Okay, so it's quite a powerful way of working. I'll work in this mode because I always do. That's what I'm used to. But we've got projects that are saved under this Explorer tab here. I've got one that I made earlier on. Okay, and my data is down on the globe there. So I'm just going to double click, and it's going to take me down to that data. Okay, so there we have it. That's a piece of data that's been captured using a mobile system. The only piece I've got, so that's why I tend to use it quite a lot. But just to give you an understanding of what you're looking at here, zooming down, that is the PointCloud data from that mobile capture. Okay, so I'm just moving around this. I don't know how clear it's coming across to you guys, but it has not caused me any issues moving around inside this data. I can use it as it was designed to be used. Okay, so that's quite fundamental in what we do. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do first is I think I'm going to create some. I'm going to create a fly through very quickly. Okay, so you can get the fly through deliverable out of the way. So I'll do that by making a viewpoint. There's plenty of things to add to this. All the data artifacts that you can add to the software or to the scene are down here. I'm going to create a viewpoint. Just call it a unique name. That's the current time and date. And so when I move away from that, if I click it again, it takes you back to it. So that's what a viewpoint is. So when I was talking earlier about making PDFs from viewpoints, that's what a viewpoint is. So I'm just going to move down here and make another one. V on the keyboard is the same function as the right click, and another viewpoint. And let's go a bit closer around down here. Yep, another viewpoint there. And that's kind of it. So we've made 4 viewpoints over here. You can go to them in turn if you like and see what they're looking at. So each one of these locations, there could be some information that is relevant to the case you're working on, and you want to show that in a presentation or a PDF. So those 4 viewpoints, I'm going to highlight them over here in the left-hand window. I'm going to click my PDF button, and it's going to ask me for a name. So I'm going to call it my first PDF. Clearly that's a lie, but I'll call it that. Okay, so and save that. And it'll go to each one of the viewpoint locations automatically. I'm not doing that, it's doing it itself. And it's made a PDF for me. And with any luck, I should be able to find that. Okay, there it is on my in my documents. Just double click that and use that. And there you go. There are 4 pages in this PDF. I'm looking at it in Adobe Acrobat now. And you can just go down the pages. They are my viewpoints that you saw me make. So not very interesting, but that's a very quick way of getting some information out of your PointCloud data and sending that to somebody, emailing it to somebody very quickly, because it's not very big. You can do the same thing with PowerPoint. So same viewpoints highlighted. There's a PowerPoint button there. I'm going to click that and PPT, okay, and save. And it does the same routine. However, it's doing that to a PowerPoint file instead now. Okay, so it's there. My first PowerPoint. Okay. Simple things. I mean, but they are extremely helpful. And also, what you can also do is you can make a movie from those viewpoints. So I've just highlighted them and I've just played them. I'm playing these viewpoints in turn to make a movie. And I'll put that in about 60 seconds. I won't do it here because 60 seconds is quite a long time when there's people waiting for you. Okay, so there you go. So that's the fly-through. That's the PDF and the PowerPoint. So say I wanted to come into this piece of data here and do some highlighting of the road. I tend to, a lot of the police in the UK, they still have to deliver a 2D top-down drawing. They get all this rich 3D data and they're asked to do a 2D drawing from it, which I understand completely. But that's all they're asked to do in some occasion. So I was talking to one of the guys the other day as to how we can sort of help with identifying the road markings. I mean, we can highlight these quite easily by doing things like this. Selecting a brush, highlighting only. Well, I'm going to choose the color on these road markings, so they're gray here. And I'm going to give it a bit of a tolerance, so it's about 5 is fine. And I'm going to go in there and actually just select. I'm going to hold the mouse button down, and I'm just wiping this over all the white on the road. So it might be a bit tedious for you to watch this, but I'll try and do as good a job as I can. Obviously, I'd be more careful if I was doing this for real, but I'm just going to go over all the white lines here. And I could use a bigger sphere if I wanted to, and actually make this even faster. Okay, so what I'm going to do in a second is make a copy, a new layer of all this information, because it just saves going to the total station routes, if you like, which you highlight the start of the line and the end, and the start of the line and the end, and you tend to get perfect white lines when it could have been the white lines that were the problem causing the accident or what have you. There's a couple we've missed out on there. It's because they're slightly out of tolerance on the grayscale that I picked. So I could probably go and pick another color here and do that instead. Yeah. It's got some speckling here. Anyway, you get the idea. So if I was doing this in an office environment, I would be a bit more careful. Other things that you're pretty interested in are the curb lines. So I did this earlier. You can draw a polyline down these curbs. So I've got one down that one down that one, and you may want to highlight the other side of the pavement there. So I've gone down there and clicked on each of the fence posts at the bottom here to highlight the pavement. I've chosen some random colors on that. And I've also added the fact that there was a camera field of view here. There was a CCTV camera here. So I'll put that in there. And you can modify that to match the image that you had from that camera. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a copy of this data I've selected. So quickly copy that. And that's done that. It's a new layer over here now. So now I can turn off the data, the London data, and I can turn the globe off, and you end up with a top-down view of that. It's a bit messy here and there because I haven't really cleaned it. And I can make an orthographic photo of this. So I'm going to turn the ortho mode on, and I can just simply go screenshot. So that's exported that to a single JPEG or bitmap, whatever you've decided at the time, on the top down. Now that's quite a messy scan, actually. I'd have probably taken a bit more care in the office while I was actually doing some proper line work with this. And I may have used real lines from a library here, which would be fine. But what we're working on right now is the ability to highlight the pavements and the curbs automatically within the software to stop people having to go in here and click on that, click on the end of this, click on that, click on this, export a CSV file, and then put it into something else. If we can make the whole process easier, we will. So orthographic capture, simple, outputted to a single file. And you can also do that to a single PDF just here. So same thing. That's just put that to a PDF. And they're probably in the same location. There you go. Yeah. So there's a PDF of that simple ortho image of that road there with a few of my items of interest on it. Okay. So one other thing I've got on here I'm going to show you very quickly is the ability to add in a panoramic capture. So if my scene was here and I've captured it in full.
Before you go on, the orthographic image that you created, when I say is it to scale, is it do you produce a scale bar with it or other reference to show measurement?
Yes, there's a scale bar just here on the overlays, and there is also a compass that you can add into this as well. So obviously it's not, if it was top down, you'd have all the information on there. So yeah, and you can place a compass anywhere you like, and the scale bar the same.
I get you. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do now, this is the same scene as we had earlier on. You can add vehicles to this. You can add all sorts of 3D objects to this to make the ortho a bit more understandable to somebody. But I'm going to just put myself here and click this button here, this round, this spherical kind of looking thing, and click that, and it just goes off and makes a panoramic image of that location. So you've got a pano of the point cloud, which you can then give to somebody and they can view it in a 3D way. So look around that particular view. It takes a little bit longer than the actual image because it has to take the photographs and then stitch them together. So it's doesn't take too long, but it's long enough when you're presenting to people. Okay. So that's that. Right, animations next. Okay. So you've made a fly through, but you've got things on this that you want to show to somebody actually moving. So I'm going to, I added this in earlier on, so I know where it was. Okay. And I'm going to animate this truck. So that truck's a point cloud, okay? It's of a different resolution to the road. It's with a different scanner. It's done at a different time. It doesn't make any difference to us where that was captured. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make an animation of this. So I'm going to go to our window, get the animator up. So this is our animation window. I'm going to get our position tool. So make sure the truck is highlighted over here. Hit the position tool. And I'm just going to move the truck backwards here slightly so we can start off somewhere. Now I'm going to make an animation. So down to the animation tool. Hit the plus key, new animation. Highlight the animation itself and then add the truck to it. So we've now got a camera in the animation and a truck. And that's where I want him for the first time, but I want to view it from about here. So that's my location at the start. I'm then going to add another frame to it, and I'm going to move the truck slightly down the road here. I'll do about 5 or 6 frames, and you'll get the idea. So you can turn this truck in any way you like. You can change all the properties for the vehicle, and yeah, just to get the point of view across for that truck. So as I click on the frames now, I've moved it. You can see the truck moving. Okay.
While you're doing that, does Arena 4D have a 3D object library?
Not a library, no, but we can load in pretty much any 3D model format that you can think of. That used to list them, but now it just says, "Oh, hang on, here we go." It's got a whole bunch of different formats here. I don't know most of them, so
yeah. I mean, there's OBJ is one of the other ones, 3DS.
Yeah, so. Yeah. There's loads in here now. There used to be probably about 10. Now there is more than I recognise. OBJ is just there.
Yeah.
So we've got a brand new 3D model library in there, which is really handy.
Yeah. So the
what I was going to do is,
can you create 3D objects in Arena 4D as a sort of in reverse, if you like?
Yes, you can. You can use the PointFuse plugin to this. It allows you to select an area and then just hit the go button, and it returns a meshed object. So the format it comes back in would be FBX, OBJ, or DXF, I think, which you can then use in something else. I'll show you I can't show you, I've not got the dongle, but I can show you a video of that working. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to move my position and update my position. And then I'll animate. So yeah, there you go. It's taken too long already. So anyway, okay. So then I'll turn the position tool off. I'm just going to click play. So now you can see I'm moving very subtly, and it's going to go weird at the end here because I didn't really take much notice of where I was moving to. But the truck is moving as well. So that's a PointCloud animating down the road, and you can animate absolutely anything that you add into your scene. So it's quite a powerful tool, this, and that would export that video to HD up to 4K, even higher to a user selected resolution, and it'll also do it from different vantage points as well. So if you wanted to see the vantage point of somebody else standing on the road on that same trajectory path of the truck, you could. Okay, so it's very, very useful. And if you can do a 360, and you can do a 360 output as well, so you can have a 360 video. Okay.
So just at that point then as well, Mark, so can you import models from the Trimble 3D warehouse SketchUp files? I guess it probably could, but
I think so. I can't answer that honestly because I didn't even realize the amount of formats that were catered for nowadays. I know the 3D model library updated on the last release, but I can't answer that honestly. What's the extension? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
It'd be SKP or something, SketchUp, won't it?
Yeah, something like that.
I'll have to take that one offline.
Yeah, SKP.
SKP. Yeah, no, I haven't got that here. So no sounds like the answer, but I will give a proper answer to that.
Okay.
After the session.
When you import stuff, does it have to be PointCloud data, or can regular photographs be incorporated as well? You
can add regular photographs into here. You can add in panoramic photographs, standard images. So I'll see if I've got one of those. This is a brand new laptop, so I'm still finding my way around it. So
a Mac, it'll be a new Mac, is it?
No, well, I have got a Mac, but this is a this is a Windows machine.
How very dare you!
So I know. There you go. So so there's an image in there. Let's add in something else. You can add. There's so many things you can add in here: bullet trajectories, compasses, clip boxes, GPS data, tracking data. But panoramics are very useful. That one. Okay, so there's a panorama in there. I clicked on the top of the lamppost by the looks of things, but you can move that in the same way as I moved the truck. So you can move that around and do what you like. If it was georeferenced, it'll be in the right place. So I've just double clicked that, and I'm now looking around inside that panorama. And obviously this isn't the right location for that. Otherwise, you know, unless the Tower of London's moved. So yeah, it's quite simple to add all this stuff in. You can literally add any data type that you can almost think of into this particular view. We have extended the functionality so much, it's gone away from its initial be a PointCloud viewer, but it's very powerful in adding all these kinds of things to it. Okay, right, let's back to the presentation. So I went through all of these things, how to make them, and that didn't take very long, to be honest. It took less than 20 minutes to actually do that. Admittedly, I wasn't being very careful, but it just shows the power of the tool. Okay, I've got a 360 walkthrough here, which is on YouTube if anyone wants to look at it. I've got several. I won't show this one because I think I've shown this before. So I'm just going to go to our GoPro viewer, which is quite good for showing this kind of stuff. If you had a VR headset, you could actually go into the VR headset and view it in 360 in this way. So this is inside a church. It's quite a dense point cloud, but you've got the ability. I'm just moving around in here. I'm stuck on this trajectory. I can't change that trajectory, but if I was talking to somebody about this data, I could pause it. I could talk about a particular pertinent point. I could look up, look down, look anywhere I like on that particular that trajectory. Okay, so that's in 4K. So it's a pretty high resolution output. But we've got a street view on here as well. Let's just do that as well. And that comes straight out of the software. It's not going in something else. It's straight out of the software. So this is Eindhoven. This is on YouTube as well. So if you were using your mobile phone, I think I've got a whole bunch of some of the guys that are on the call today in Atlanta using their mobile phones to look around this data. So you could pause it and have a bit more of a look at this car if you wanted to. Yeah, so powerful output. Okay. All right, back to the presentation. Ooh, no, don't play that. Okay, the next thing is in presenting your data is live VR. This is, when I say live, I mean you've got the ability to move around within the data set that you're currently looking at. So somebody's got a headset on and they're actually using 3D controllers to actually do this. So the two controllers that you see on the screen are one of the guys in the office, and they're walking around that same data set of Eindhoven that you just saw the 360 data of. And you see a measurement being taken there. So that's a measurement from your current location, or it shows the XYZ coordinates of that point that you're pointing at. And you can also take measurements there, like you saw, from one point to another. So simply point, click, measure. So very simple in terms of the functionality, but you can move around freely in the software, in the data set, sorry. And you can also point at something and transport yourself there, like that. So you're now looking down from above at the street that you've just put the measurements in. So you can see the person who's using this is quite familiar with the VR world and doesn't feel disorientated when they're actually using this, which can be the case in some instances. This is that same data that you saw earlier with the VR in mind as well. So just skip through some of this. You don't want to see all of that. But this is it working in the office. Okay, so seeing what's on the screen, same as watching what's inside the actual headset itself. Okay. Okay, that's quite enough of that. Okay, so what's next? Sharing. That was presenting your data, but part of that, it really is sharing. Now, there's this thing called Project to Go. This is our Arena 4D projects. And to go is not really a UK phrase, so you can see where this is kind of aimed. It's a single executable. So you've made a project like I did just now. So this project that I've got here, there's all things in my project. I could save this, just there, and save complete, and that is a project. So once you've made that project, you can click a single button, and it creates an executable file, and it packages all that entire project that you've got. It puts it all together with the executable, which you can then deliver to somebody on a thumb drive. So from a SME point of view, so you are the main user, you want people to see the data in a certain way, and you've created a project. You've then delivered that as a executable to somebody, and they could run that on a computer in a courtroom without needing a license of the software. And that's quite a good way of getting the information across to people. Bearing in mind, sometimes these can be very big executables because PointCloud data is very big. However, we do have the ability to stream that data from a server to the project itself, which can be emailed. I think I've got a video of that in the next shot. Now, the other way of sharing the PointCloud data is by exporting a project. So inside here, there's a project. That's the one we're looking at right now. And if I want to, I can share this. So I can click export, and it will package all the data together, not the software, just the data. And I can then give that to somebody, and they can come into here. They can just open that data and add it to their workspace, their Explorer. So that's another way of sharing the data. Let's go back to PowerPoint. Okay, this is quite a long video, so I'm just going to try and talk about it as it goes. Now, this is Data Studio, as you've seen. Now they're creating a project, but this here is a server. That's a server in our office. It's got all this PointCloud data on it. So they load in the PointCloud data from the server, and there'll be a slight lag in loading some of the data. Ignore the blank spots there. That's under the ground, but you'll see a very slight loading delay because it's streaming it across the local area network. So that's on the server. You can then add things to this, like a measurement in this case, and then you can save all of that project data. So it's a server-based PointCloud, and it's a local measurement. So what I'm getting to here is once you decide to save it, you can then share that data. Let's try and find where it does that. Okay. Bear with me for a second. So yeah, you're saving the data, and you can then share that as an A4D file, and it's only 10 kilobytes because it's not including all the PointCloud data. So he's going to his email, he's emailing that small file, A4D there, to somebody, so probably himself, and then the person who's emailed to can then load that project to go, and it then links to the server, and it allows you to view that PointCloud data in exactly the same way as the guy who made the project in the first place, and without having to shift all the PointCloud data across the internet or via a disk or some kind of thumb drive. Okay. Streaming, I'm conscious of time now. This won't take too long. Streaming, like I said earlier on, this is the cloud-based side of things. You can set up your own local cloud inside your own office. The benefits of this are they were learned many years ago when people were losing their Word documents without saving it and didn't have any backup on a server. The data is configured. If you were to put all your data on a standalone PC in your office and share it to everybody, you could back it up every day. You'd get less loss of data, and it will be secure. And here is an example of one we have on the Azure server, Microsoft Azure server. So this is obviously a dummy set of data, but your logo would go here. You'd be able to log in with secure login. Just click login, and it gives you a map of where all your data is. So I've got some data around here, got some data there. Mouse and over tells you what that is, BLK 360 sample by the looks of things, or you can look at it from a table point of view. So I've got 5 point clouds in there. Just going to click on one of them, and it uses the Poetry network to load that data, and you can then view that in a browser. And back again. And we deployed this with a couple of companies already, so it's getting some good use, and so we're getting features fed back to us all the time, and we are always quite happy to add those features in if they're going to benefit more than just one person. So that's a live demo of that. And you simply, if you want to add things to this, you drop them into this area here, and it uploads them to the server. Now that would work in your office, that would work in our office, and that works on the Azure server like I've got here as well. So it's not streaming in the cloud like you'd expect. Okay, so it's using our point server to stream that data to the web. Okay, I've got this is one last video done by one of my customers. Is there any questions that need answering now, Dave, do you think?
There's one on here, yes, just going back to the VR options, which is, are all the desktop tools available in VR? It's not something I've used, so you can answer that in your own inimitable style.
No, no, they're not just yet. We're trying to get feedback from people who are using VR or interested in VR to find out what are the best tools that we should add to the actual VR experience, because some of them aren't really relevant, but yeah, we will expand it to include whatever people want. We are more than happy to do that, and that's how the software's got to where it is today.
I mean, that's one thing about Veesus is you have been in the past very flexible and responsive to in answering questions and queries from Muppets such as myself, who will say, well, why can't it do this? And then you say, oh, well, it can if you just we can get it to do that. So, and on a similar theme, what do you feel the system still needs in terms of feature and functions? Is there anything that you feel that it would develop, it will benefit from?
Yeah, well, we've just, I think it's all back end, a lot of it. I think it would benefit from the version 3 of the Point Fuse plugin, which is available now, so it needs to go in. And really, it needs, I think it just needs feedback relating to other data types and how you'd really use some of the data, some of the point cloud. Because what tends to happen, people get point cloud data and they get a tool like Data Studio and they use it the way it's been designed at the moment. Whereas other people will look at it and say, that doesn't quite work that way. We need to do this. We need to do it in this way. So I like to modify the software to actually meet the user's needs rather than the other way around, to force people to change the way they work to actually accommodate the software. So more features, more forensic type features. I'd love to get something like some other blood splatter type tools in there, or I don't know where we're going. It's just depends what comes out of research.
Okay, and another thing with Arena 4D, it's a multi-platform software. It works on, I joked about Mac earlier on, but it does work on Mac as well as Windows equally as well. So that's something people may want to bear in mind should they have options in that area.
Yes, exactly.
Does it work on Linux as well?
Yes, it does. We haven't got any Linux users, but yeah, it does.
yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm going to play this video, and then there's time for more questions at the end, if you like. This is, like I say, it's not a forensic scene. This is purely an interesting scan. I liked it. There's some music behind it as well. It shows the power of sound, but I'm not suggesting you put sound on your courtroom presentations. But here we go. Okay. So this is some scan data of some World War II German bunkers. they've been scanned externally and internally, and that's why I think it's quite a useful way of depicting things, because I'm sure there are plenty of crime scenes that are out inside buildings that have information outside of the building as well. It's only about 2.5 minutes long, so bear with it. So we annotation, everything you see here was done inside Data Studio, so it's not, except the music, so it's not been messed with externally of Data Studio. So what you'll see next are the internal scans. So it's using the transparency feature in Data Studio to see an X-ray of the PointCloud data inside the bunker. And this is using our clipping feature to clip off the roofs and the annotations to highlight the rooms. There you go. So I hope that was okay. And any questions? Okay, any questions?
So does anyone 3D print models from scan data for use in core? That's probably a general question back to the audience as much as ourselves.
I think I've seen a couple of examples, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I do know some people are using it. It's a little bit thinly spread at the moment. I would guess as the price of 3D printers continues to fall, then it probably will become more widespread. I mean, again, it's a useful tool to present data. We've got it in 3D. Let's, a knife or a damaged car or whatever it is. It is a good tactile result from the scan data. So there was one from Mark Johnson earlier on, which was whether you can put a virtual horizon or a ground plane in when you're doing the walkthrough. So I'm guessing that's so everything's always level.
Yes, I believe you can. I'll have to. Yeah, I'll come. One second, I've got a 4-year-old just. Yes, yes, you can. I'll have to talk to Mark to understand exactly what he's looking to do before I can give him a proper answer. But he's using the software, so I'll get one of the support guys to talk to him about that, I think.
Yeah, excellent. he also asked what was the actual frame rate on your machine for those bunker animations. I presume that was a video from someone else, so it depends on what their frame rate would be actually, rather than yours.
I think they used either 25 or 40 frames per second.
Excellent. Well, cost programming training, always a question. Depending on your marketplace, would be where we get in touch. If you're in the UK, then direct with Veesus, I would guess. And in the interim, I'll contact Veesus for your local distributor. That's from Dennis Payne. I think that probably answers that question.
Yeah.
But it is very competitive, I have to say. For what you're getting, it is a lot of. It's got a lot of punch for your dollar, or pound, or shilling, or wherever you are. Mark, that's excellent. And just a last final mop up from any further questions, if there are any, you can put them in. No, I think we'll call it a close on there. Thank you very much for that overview of Veesus Arena 4D. One thing we didn't mention, but has been talked of before, is the 4D, the 4-bit is time, where we can introduce elements such as the animation of the truck, for example, and that can occur as in a time sequence, so it comes in at the right point. So you say 30 seconds into the animation sequence. So, yeah, it's thank you very much again. Fantastic overview of the software and the improvements that have been made just since the last update, which is probably not that long ago. And the development continues on the pace.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
So thank you very much, everyone. That's the end of this FSM webinar. It has been recorded for those who want to get back in touch. We'll get it sorted out for you. Once again, thanks very much for your interest. Keep a look on the FSM website. There will be more webinars as we go along through the year. Thank you all, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.